Okay. Right, guys. A number of people share equally in a prize of €300. The following week, 10 people more share equally in the prize of €300. Each share in the second week was €2.50 less than each share in the first week. Find out how many people share in the prize in the first week. Okay. Less. Okay. So share for first week. Share in week 1 minus share in week 2. Because share in week 2 is smaller, equals €2.50. Please remember that €2.50 is rewritten as 5/2. Because we usually do fractions in these, right? Algebra fractions. Share in week 1 is 300 people. Find out how many people shared in the prize in the first week. Yeah. Sorry, €300 divided by X people. X people in the first week, €300 in the second week, and there is 10 more people. If you're sharing 10 more people, it makes it a smaller number. This means that 300 over X is the bigger number. Close that door. 300 over X plus 10 is the smaller number. Now, do your 3 lines. Up, across, and over, right? So we're going to get 300x plus 3000 minus 300x all over x squared plus 10x. All of this equals 5/2. The 300x's cancel each other, and then what we're going to be left with is we're going to get 5. We're going to multiply up, cross multiply this time, 2 lines. And what we're going to get is 5x squared plus 50x equals 2 times 3000, which is 6000. Bring over the 6000 and we're going to get 5x squared plus 50x minus 6000 equals 0. Divide everything by 5. We're going to get x squared plus 10x is equal to minus 1200. Now 1200 as your reference number, it's going to be x it's going to be x and x equals, we don't know what it is yet. Reference number of 1200 minus 1200. I'm pretty sure it's going to be 20 and 60 won't do us any good. 30 and 40 will do us really well. Plus 30 minus 40 plus 30 minus 40. X will equal 40, or x equals minus 30. It can't be minus 30 because of what reason?
It's not negative 30 people.
You can't have negative 30 people. You can only have positive 40. Yes? Oh, it's a plus 10. Oh, excuse me, so if it's plus 10, got to keep an eye on that there, it's plus 10, so that would have made it plus 40 minus 30. So it's x minus 30, x plus 40. So what that actually does is it makes it minus 40 and x equals plus 30. So the actual answer is 30 plus 30 people. Check your answer. Right, check your answer. What you can do is sub back into the top. If week 1 is 30, that means to get a tenner in the first week. If week 2 is 30 plus 10, which is 40, 30 divided by 40 is €7.50. Shh. The difference between €10 and €7.50 is €2.50. Okay? So that's it. Okay? Now, next one. This one here. Solve for x. This is what we call a surd, okay? And surds are, we never ever square a surd when another number is on the same side. So what we always do is we'll always move over the numbers. So we'll get a 3 minus x. I'm going to bring over the, sorry, just 1 second, guys. I'm going to bring the full surd. I'm going to bring the full surd over to the right. I'm going to bring the 3 to the left. I'm going to get x minus 3 equals root x plus 3. Square both sides. Now square both sides. What happens is I'm going to get x plus 3 on the right. I'm going to get x squared minus 6x plus 9 on the left. Going to bring the x and the 3 over to the other side. What I'm going to get is x squared minus 7x. And that's going to go into minus 3, which will make it plus 6 equals 0. Put in your numbers. We're going to get x minus 3. Okay, so we're going to get reference number is 6. We're going to get minus 6 minus 1. X minus 1. X minus 6 equals 0. X equals 1. X equals 6. Will it work for both of these numbers? Let's have a quick check. 1 minus root 4 equals 3. 1 minus, what is root 4? It can also be minus 2. 3 plus 3 equals 3. It does work. Okay? So it's not F. It's has to be 3 equals 3. Now, check the other one. The other one says x equals 6. Let's check out 6. 6 minus 6, 6 minus the square root of 6 plus 3 is 6 minus root 9. 6 minus root 9 is 6 minus 3. 6 minus 3 is 3. Both answers work. Okay, next one. Now, for those of you who have forgotten, what modulus means is the modulus of minus 5 equals plus 5. The modulus of 5 equals 5. It's always the positive values. Now, what we do with modulus is we square both sides. And what we get is 2x plus 1 squared equals x minus 1 squared. We're going to square that out. We're going to get 4x squared plus 4x plus 1 equals x squared minus 2x plus 1. Bring all the x squareds over one side. We're going to get 3x squared plus 6x. Bring the 1 over the other side. It cancels with the other one. Now we're at one of these. We take out 3x. 3x brackets. X plus 2. Close bracket equals 0. 3x equals 0. That means x equals 0. Or x plus 2 equals 0. Just means x equals minus 2. Okay. Okay. Next one is, basically we had two answers, and one of the lads asked me, how do I know this is correct, okay? So I test my two answers. I replace all x's with zeros, okay? And what will happen here is, I will get the following. I'll get, is the modulus of 1, is the modulus of 1 the same as the modulus of minus 1? You have to take the positive value. The positive value of 1 minus 1 is 1. Positive value of 1 is 1. 1 equals 1. That answer works. The next answer is replace them all with minus 2. 2 times minus 2 is minus 4. This is going to turn into minus 4. Minus 2 minus 1 minus 3. So we're going to get the modulus of minus 3. And this one's also going to be the modulus of minus 3. The modulus of minus 3 equals the modulus of minus 3. Hence they both work. Okay? So we're getting two answers. Because it's a plus and minus. Okay? Now, next one. You can read that.
You just square both sides.
Okay, this one here. Express questions 16 to 24 in the form x plus a squared minus b. Hence or otherwise solve for x. Okay, we're going to do the otherwise. Okay, let's do this one here. Number 18. What we always do is we make a perfect square of it. We half the middle value. Do you understand? It's always half the value that comes in front of the x. We're going to end up with x plus 1 squared. Next thing we do, we multiply out x plus 1 squared, and we're going to get x squared plus 2x plus 1. We didn't have plus 1, we're meant to have minus 6. What number can I put in here to fix that? Minus 7 equals 0. What we're next going to get is, we're going to change that back into the perfect square. We're going to have x plus 1 squared equals minus 7, you're right Stephen, minus 7 equals 0. Is that in the right form? Yes it is. These here indicate to us that we might have to use the minus b formula. So what I'm going to do is just going to write it down the original way it was. The original way it was basically x squared plus 2x minus 6 equals 0. What we're going to do is we're going to say a equals 1, b equals 2, c equals minus 6. We're going to do the minus b formula. Minus b equals minus 2. The minus b formula is minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared, 2 squared, minus 4 times a, 1 times c is minus 6. All divided by 2 times 1. We're going to get minus 2 plus or minus the square root of. Will somebody do that in the calculator for me, please? I think it's going to be the square root of 28. And the square root of 28 terminology is going to be 2 root 7. Is that correct? Yeah? Okay. All over 2. The answer therefore is, we're going to, for those of you who don't remember this, you can more or less break it up so it looks like this. And then what happens is the 2's will cancel. And we're going to be left with is minus 1 plus or minus root 7. That is 2 answers of minus 1 plus root 7 or minus 1 minus root 7. They are 2 answers for that question. Okay. Next one. Yeah. Okay. Do the following. Express each of the following functions in question 16 to 19 in the forms ax squared plus bx plus c, expressing a, b and c equal to z. Now, what I'm going to ask you in the exam is I'm going to do 2 different. I'm going to draw in something, okay? And what I'm going to draw in the exam is this. I'm going to draw in a U-shaped graph, obviously in a different colour, okay? Goes all the way down and comes all the way back up. Now what you're going to be asked to do is you're going to be asked to get the equation of the blue one and the red one. We're going to begin. To get the equation, you need to do the following. You have to write down where the graph cuts the x-axis. This is x equals 0 for the first one, yeah? And x equals 6 for the second one. This means that x equals 0 and x equals 6 are roots. Okay? You go backwards, you pretend you're going backwards, okay? This one is technically x minus 0 equals 0. It's still the same thing, isn't it? It's just x equals 0. You're going to bring the other one backwards and you're going to get x minus 6 equals 0. This means this equation came from this. Yeah? Which means that the formula should have been x squared minus 6x. Now, is x squared minus 6x U-shaped or N-shaped? U-shaped. U-shaped because it has a plus x squared value. So this means that the answer I just got is for the blue graph. What would be the answer for the red graph? How do you turn a graph upside down?
Minus.
Sorry? Multiply it by minus and you'd get minus x squared plus 6x. The next one I'm going to try is just a generic one, number 17, okay? Now, once again, in the test, I'm going to modify the likes of number 17. I'm going to modify it into a different type of question. And the type of question I'm going to modify into is like this. I'm going to ask you to find the green graph and the red graph. Okay. Like last time, the red one has a plus x squared, the green one has a minus x squared. So what you need to do is this. Okay? X equals minus 4. X equals plus 4. This means that if you go backwards, it's x minus 4 in one bracket and x plus 4 in the second bracket. You multiply these out, you're going to get x squared minus 16. Okay? The U-shaped graph, which is in red, that one is x squared minus 16. Can anybody tell me what is the green graph going to be? Minus x squared plus 16. You in effect turn it upside down that way.
That's it.
Yeah.
Would one be y and one be x?
Sorry?
Would one of them be y and one be
No, they're two different graphs. If you aren't sure about this, guys, put in this into your calculator, okay, and do it from, let's say, minus 6 to plus 6. And what it will do is it will show you all the points on this red line. It will show you minus 4, 0. It will show you minus 4, minus 3. It will show you all these points. And you just dot them up and you know they're the same curve. Okay, next one. Number 16 here, okay? If x minus 2 is a factor of x cubed plus px plus q, find the value of p and the value of q. This can be done in two ways. The first method you could do is you could say, it can only be done in one way, excuse me, okay? The reason why this one can only be done in one way is you only know one root. You know that x minus 2 by x minus 2 is a factor, yeah? This means it divides in equally into it. Multiply it out, you're going to get x squared minus 4x plus 4. And then all we got to do now is you got to divide it into this. It's missing its x squared value, so you have to put 0x squared plus px plus q. And you all have to put in x squared minus 4x plus 4. Okay, divide it in. X times, so x cubed minus 4x squared plus 4x. Change the sign. Minus, plus, and minus. What you're going to get here is, yes? Guys, what happens here is the reason why some people might have thought to use a simultaneous root. So if this was something like this, if it was something like this, x squared minus 5x plus 6 is a factor, you could factorize that and you could figure out that x equals 2 and x equals 3 are factors. You could get f of 2, f of 3 and work out a simultaneous equation. The reason why that method doesn't work for this one is it's a repeated root because it's x minus 2, x minus 2. So if I was to draw this out, what happens is, you don't have to draw it out, I'm just explaining what it is. It means that it only touches once at x equals 2. It doesn't cross underneath to produce 3 separate roots, okay? So that's why for repeated roots we use the division method. So we divide it and what we get is 4x squared plus 4 minus px plus q. The next step now is to divide that in. We're going to get x squared divided by x squared plus 4. Multiply it out, we're going to get 4x squared minus 16x plus 16. Close it all up. I need to change the signs again. That's going to be a minus, a plus, and a minus. We have two formulas. 0x squared, 4x squared minus 4x squared, 0x squared. Nothing to be learnt there. The next one is 4 minus p plus 16 has to equal 0. The numbers that come in front of the x, when they're added together, they must produce 0x. Up here, just double check your values, okay? Up here, what happened was, it was plus p, and it was meant to be minus 4. And plus p minus 4 is p minus 4. So just please make sure you double check each line, okay? So it's p minus 4. So we have to rechange this line into p minus 4 plus 16. Okay? Now what happens next is that's going to be p plus 12 equals 0. Bring over to 12. P will therefore be equal to minus 12. The next last part is q minus 16 is 0. And this therefore means q equals 16. So now we know. Okay, find the value of p and the value of q. Done. Okay, next one, which is the two roots of the equation ax squared, ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d are p and minus p. Show that bc equals ad. It's a division question, right? It's got to be a division question. Now, if I give you roots, what you have to do is you have to change them back into their factors. This is the roots, and therefore the next part has to be the factors. So now you know that x minus p and x plus p are factors, and it's these two factors will divide into this big equation here. Alright? Now, likewise, if I had the number 24, okay, and I said, what would I say? Sorry, I actually can't make an analogy like that. Excuse me, I can't actually do that. Okay. What you generally do is when you get the two factors, you can sometimes multiply those two factors by each other to make a quadratic equation. Then this quadratic equation will divide into the cubic equation, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to get x squared minus px plus px minus p squared, and that's going to be x squared minus p squared. And that's all being divided into, what's it been divided into? Ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d. Now, we're going to divide this in. What we're going to get is a times for the first one, ax times. So that's going to make it ax cubed minus, one thing here guys, to have it lined up properly, I still need to have my 0x in the middle to line it up properly, okay? So ax cubed plus 0, x squared minus ap squared x. Take them away, we're going to get minus, plus, so we're going to get bx squared plus, we're going to factorize that, it's going to be c plus ap squared x. Okay, so c plus ap squared x. Just double check that one, this is where I made the mistake last time. Make sure don't do it again. Then the d comes down. Once again, divide in. And what we're going to get is x squared into bx squared goes plus b times. We're going to get bx squared minus 0x, and then we're going to get bp minus bp squared. Go in a second time, change the signs. Minus, plus. We're going to end up with three equations. We're going to end up with c plus ap squared equals 0, because it's 0x, and we're also going to end up with the equation d plus bp squared equals 0. We're going to look back up to the top. I want to prove that bc equals ad. Which letter is missing from both of them? P. P is the only letter missing from this. When you figure out which letter you're missing in the answer, that's the letter you get on its own in both equations. Get p squared on its own starting off. Bring the c over to the other side. You're going to get ap squared equals minus c. Bring underneath the a. And what we can get is p squared equals minus c over a. You could get p on its own by square rooting both sides, but why don't you need to? Because there's a p squared in the green equation. Once again, bring over the d, we're going to get bp squared equals minus d. Then we're going to get p squared equals minus d over b. Both of these equations are equal to p squared. That must mean they both equal each other. So we're going to get minus c over a equals minus d over b. And what we're going to get is minus BC equals minus AD when we cross multiply. Multiply both sides by minus 1. BC equals AD. BC equals AD. You can see that this took me 25 minutes.